we're all here. Welcome everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's good to see all of your faces, and we welcome all those who are joining us on live stream tonight as well for our Shabbat service. This is the last week of Elul that we're in, because next Shabbat will be here in Shul for Rosh Hashanah. So I want to begin with some thoughts about being here in this place at this time, and shalom and shlemut, and bringing ourselves into the new year. Sort of a little bit of a riff on Shalom Aleichem. You'll find the words for that, by the way, in the back of the Siddur, because we'll use that as our opening Zmirah tonight. So if you want to look at that now, page 189. Peace is with us, angels of stillness. Enter and bless us and give us rest. God knows I need you. God knows I'm asking, harried, impatient, at war with myself. Make your home in my soul. Fill my home with your light. Let me breathe in your quiet. Help me savor shalom. Peace is with you, angels of stillness. Enter, bless me, give me rest. Two angels follow me home. Chesed and Gevurah, kindness and judgment, love and discipline. May both of those dwell within me. Gentleness and generosity that expand my soul, firmness and self-restraint, the strength to say no. On this day of Shalom, may we be Shalem, may we be well-balanced, may we be whole. And this traditional piece of Shalom Aleichem that we sing to welcome Shabbat is based on a passage from the Talmud, Tractate Shabbat, where it says there are two angels, one good and one not so good. We could call them wicked or bad. But according to Talmudic teachers, they follow us home from synagogue. And if we're ready for Shabbat, the good angel says, may it be so next week. But if we haven't done anything to prepare, that angel says the same words, may it be so next week. And so in a certain sense, it's a struggle within ourselves to bring ourselves to this place of shlemut each and every week, each and every day. And celebrating one Shabbat, as we're doing, creates a bit of momentum for the next week. And there's a teaching that interprets those two angels as aspects of our personality. We need both of them, really, if we're going to achieve that sense of shlemut in our lives, that sense of wholeness. And so when we say Shabbat Shalom, literally, we are conveying the hope for a balance, that balance of chesed, kindness, and gvurah, strength. So we say Shalom Aleichem, peace be to you, page 189. And as we are preparing to enter the new year, may we find that balance of chesed and gvurah. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon, Mi'melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch, Mo'achem my pleasure now to call upon Emma, who's going to lead us in the blessings for the Shabbat candles. Blessings are on page 23, and one of the readings is on page 20 or 21.
Zoe's going to take the lead with prayer olive on page 20.
Great, thank you, Zoe.
On this day, we would see the world in a new light. On this day, we would add new spirit to our lives.
On this day we would taste a new time of peace. We would rest from desire from gain, ambition for things.
We would raise our eyes to look beyond time and space toward eternity. Oh, may we come to see the world in a new light.
As it is written, let a new light shine upon Zion, and may it be our blessing to see its splendor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu Page 24. We continue together at the top of page 27. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week we live under the tyranny of things of space. On Shabbat we try to come into holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal time, determined from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. Page 29, we welcome Shabbat in the words of Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi, Ratkala, B'nei Shabbat Nekala, Lecha Dodi, Ratkala, B'nei Shabbat Nekala. Lecha Dodi, continue responsively at the top of page 34. Mike, would you lead us there?
How can I sing of day and night when it is God who formed them?
How can I sing of heaven and earth when it is God who created them?
How can I sing of mountains and hills when it is God who planted them?
How can I sing of seas and deserts when it is God who got them?
And how can I sing of earth and its fullness when it is God who bade them be?
I shall sing to God who fashioned all and is beyond all. It is to God I shall sing.
We rise for the words of Barclay. We continue responsively at the top of page 37. Brad, would you lead us there? Glasses are helpful.
Yes. We praise you, eternal Lord God, whose presence fills creation. Your word brings on the evening twilight. You open the gates of dawn with wisdom, and with foresight you make times pass and seasons change.
Your plan sets the course of the stars in the sky, creating day and night, turning light into darkness and darkness into light.
You make the day fade away and bring on the night, separating day and night. You rule the hosts of heaven.
We praise you, eternal one, who brings on the evening twilight.
Together we rise for the words of Shema and Ve'ahavta in body or in spirit as we let these words fall into our hearts. Bottom of page 42, we continue with reading Bet. Ruth, would you lead us there?
I, Miriam, stand at the sea and turn to face the desert stretching endless and still.
My arms reach to the sky, I want to sing a song rising inside of me.
My mouth open, I stop. Where are the words? Where the melody? In a moment of panic, my vision goes blank. Can I take a step without knowing a destination? Will I falter? Will I fall? Will the ground sink away from under me?
The song still unformed. How can I sing? To take the first step, to sing a new song, to close one's eyes and dive into unknown waters. For a moment knowing nothing, risking all, but then discover the waters are friendly, the ground is firm, and the song rises again.
Page 44, we sing those same words that our ancestors sang at the shore of Freedom Sea. As you redeemed Israel and saved us from arms stronger than our own, so may you redeem all those who are still oppressed and persecuted. We praise you, Eternal One, the Redeemer of Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Gaal Yisrael. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim ufros aleinu sukat shorecho v'tatmeinu v'tatmeinu b'etzat tovam milfanecha hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukat shalom aleinu aleinu ve'al amo Yisrael hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim. We continue responsively at the bottom of page 47 with reading Aleph. Leonard, would you lead us there?
Yes. Why do we say our God and the God of our ancestors? There are two sorts of believers, one for whom faith has been handed down from our ancestors. The other has arrived at faith through searching and contemplation.
In the first instance, faith cannot be shaken, no matter how many generations raised. But there is a flaw in this. Faith is passed on from generation to generation, as a part of our tradition, and so it may have been learned without our reasoning.
The advantage of the second is that faith is reached through its own power, through much searching and thinking. But this faith also has a flaw. It is possible to shake it by offering contrary evidence.
But the one who combines both kinds of faith is vulnerable. That is why we say our God, because of our searching, and the God of our ancestors, because of our tradition.
Yekadal v'yekadash shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'amha divrach yirtei v'yamlik malchutei
B'chayekon yomechon uv'kayed kol Beit Yisrael. U'mizman ha'ariv v'yimru amen. Yesh me'Rabbah v'orach v'olam v'mehaya yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitasei v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kudashah le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata
Tushbechata v'nechemata ta'amira b'yoma v'yimru amen.
Adonai sefotai tiftachu v'yagid tefillah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Sarah Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Rivka Elohei Yaakov Elohei Rachel Elohei
Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Elam Adonai Mechayeh Havatah Rav LaMoshiach Mechakel Chaim B'Chesed Mechayeh Hakol Rachim Ramim Somech Noflim V'Rofeh Cholim U'Matir Asurim U'Mkayeh Mimatol V'Shnei Be'afar Milchamocha B'Al U'Lidom Melech Melech V'Mitchayeh U'Matzliach Yeshua Me'eman Atah L'Chayot Haro Baruch Atah Adonai V'Chayei Hakol.
Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like the softness of moonlight, illumines the darkness in which we walk.
Help us to see wherever we gaze, the bush for you.
And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu Kadosh. Blessed is the eternal one, the Holy God.
Please be seated. We continue on page 54 with reading Bet. Frank, would you lead us there?
Out of land of heaven. Out of land of heaven down comes warm Shabbat sun into the spice box of earth. The queen will make every Jew her beloved.
In a white silk cloak, a rabbi dances up the street, wearing a wand like a clear shawl, branching out of silver sides.
Behind him dance his pupils, dancing not so high, and chanting the rabbi's prayer, but not so sweet.
And who waits for him on the throne at the end of the street, the Shabbat queen?
Down go his hands into the spice box of earth, and there he finds a fragrant sun for a wedding ring, and draws her wedding ring through.
Gathering on the green lawn, the people call him Rabbi, and fill their mouths with good bread and his happy song.
We continue responsibly with words of avodah, words of prayer on page 59. Miriam, would you lead us there? Reading Bet.
I saw Jerusalem from Mount Scopus, and she was perfect and whole, little yet limitless, within her borders contained and yet uncontainable.
Eastward the hills of Judah, wrapped in white and blue,
Our ministering priests and Saturday, they meditate blessing and burn the steel shell incense.
And on the hills and pits the embers still whispering burn, as if spice were being perfumed there in the twilight by the roasting of the sun's coals on censers of shadows.
and all Jerusalem was for me like a single coal kept on the altar, that each nation and guardian might come, and write with tongues, and take from an ember.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamachazir shekhinah Tzion. We praise you, Eternal One, who brings your Shekhinah to Zion. We join together in words of peace at the top of page 63. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. We take a few moments now to pray the words of our own hearts. On page 65. Please join me on page 133 for the words of Misha Beroth. We ask blessing upon those in need of healing in our families and in our community on this Shabbat. As we think especially of Sharon Burr, Bob Ledger, Fran McKay, Jackie Verby, Harvey Friedman, Raymond and Francis Rigby, Eudoro Torres, Consuelo Franco, Shirley Herman, Rick Valentine, Marlene Friedman, Jack Goodlatz, Rebecca Bodville, Philip Shepard, Carl Katz, Yolanda Ruzzi, Madeline Kitson, Kathy Kitson, Dee Hickey, Lorraine DaCosta, Adela Tsur, Al Lofsky, Evelyn Tyndall, Amanda Schenk, Daniel Black, Jean Elizabeth Pitt, Karen Smith, Francis Van Tyne, and Bob Smith. And I invite you to share names of those for whom you are praying for healing on this Shabbat, if you wish to share them aloud or hold those names in your heart at this time.
Celia Berger, Martin Grossman.
We pray for their comfort and their strength as we sing these words together.
Let him
coming towards the end of Dvarim, not quite there yet, as you know, because after the Yamim Noraim, we come to begin the Torah all over again. But we're at the double portion this week of Nitzavim and Vayelech. Not every year do we have them together, but this year we do. And Nitzavim and Vayelech, the settings of these portions are very dramatic. Moses is speaking for the last time to the people of Israel, the people that he has led for 40 years through the desert, and they're at a parting of the ways. Moses will not enter the promised land, and the people will be going into the land led by Joshua. Moses will go up to Mount Nebo where he will die, and so he is giving his final messages to the people. And in the second of those portions, Vayelech, Moses calls to Joshua and says to him in the sight of all Israel, Chazak ve'ematz, be strong and have good courage, for it is you who will go with the people into the land that God swore to their ancestors to give them. It is you who will portion it to them, and it is indeed God who will go before you. God will be with you, God will not fail you, God will not forsake you. Fear not, and be not dismayed. So I was speaking this week as part of our Elo circle. Actually, last night we were discussing the idea of fear, yirah, and also that the same word for yirah can also be translated as awe. And I thought I would just explore that with you a little bit tonight. Towards the end of the Torah, when we're witness to this transition, and Moses is preparing for the end of his life, and Joshua is preparing to step up into this new role of leadership, they're both aware of this as an awesome responsibility and of the vulnerability that's there. And much of that is also part of where we are at this time of year. Responsibility, vulnerability. We know that we're on the cusp of a new year as we look back on what we have achieved and accomplished and perhaps failed to do in the past year and what we're going forward towards. And Moses is reassuring Joshua. He's saying, Joshua, you can do this. You're up to the task. You don't need to fear. You don't need to be worried because you're not alone. God is with you. And in some ways, that's also the same message that's coming to us with all that we do in our lives, that yes, we're up to the task. It's an awesome responsibility to be a human being and to try to follow the Torah and to try to be a good human being. But we're up to the task. Don't fear, you're not alone. God is with you. And Vayelech also, because we read it either this week, which is the Shabbat before Rosh Hashanah, or sometimes when the calendar is a little bit longer. Not really, but it's we don't have to double up on this portion. Some years we read it actually between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It's the period of time that we call the Yamim Noraim, and that word Norah has the same root that is being used in this portion, Yirah. We often translate Yamim Noraim as the days of awe, but we could translate them as the days of fear as well, because that root, Yud Resh Aleph, can be translated as either awe or fear. It has kind of the connotation of both. And the question is, what kind of fear? If you look at a modern English Hebrew dictionary, there are 5 different words for fear, actually. Upon close examination, there are a lot of subtle nuances between those. In the translation, they help us to understand what the words really signify. We have the word pachad. Pachad is really best translated kind of as terror or trembling, right? This is what we see in the story of Abraham and taking his son up to Mount Moriah. And it's best utilized when it's associated with kind of a forceful event like that, or sometimes with wrath or rage. On the other hand, this word yirah, the one that Moses is using in addressing Joshua, is most closely associated with what we might call a religious theophany, a religious experience, a spiritual experience in which you notice something you haven't noticed before. Similar to when Jacob wakes up from his dream and he says, God was in this place and I did not know. And in those instances, fear can be understood as awe as well, because in reality, that kind of fear and awe, they're two sides of the same coin, the same experience. And so when we say lo tira here, or al tira'u, it's linked with the power of God in that awesome experience of the divine in the world. And as human beings, we are creatures of awe and wonder. At the same time, we might be very fearful of what we experience as wondrous, but we can't understand it. And so that edge between fear and awe is razor thin. They're really two sides of the same balance beam. We might at one point be fearful because of the extent of our vulnerability when we look into that. And at the same time, we might also feel extreme awe at the mysterious experience of the holy that fills our world. And the Torah describes Jacob waking from his dream saying, Vayira vayomar ma nora. Again, yira, nora, that same verb. How awesome is this place? He could also say, how fearful is this place? It really depends on where he was right in that moment on the balance beam. That's his theophany is the power of the experience of the eternal in the world. And Moses understands the power of standing here in God's presence and being God's messenger. And he's trying to remind Joshua at this point. It's really a crucial juncture. They're on that razor-thin balance beam together. He's trying to remind Joshua of the polarities of both of those translations of the word Yirah, because even Moses is accepting that he has to relinquish his authority and coming to the end of his life, and perhaps he also feels a sense of awe and a sense of fear and a sense of gratitude. And he's trying to teach Joshua something about the meaning of being a leader, that you have to use great care not to misuse your power and your authority. You can use power to instill fear in others in order to control them, or you can be mindful of that responsibility and you can not allow it to be distorted. And so Moses is telling Joshua, not only don't fear your responsibilities, but be mindful of how awesome they are and how awesome is God, that God will be with you. So as we're prepared at this point to usher in the new year, we're also aware that we stand on the border. We stand on the border of a promised land that links our past with our future. And we know as we enter this year ahead, parts of us we will be leaving behind. And we will encounter elements that are tinged with both awe and fear. And we can imagine as our new year approaches that it's as if Moses speaks to each one of us personally and says, it's you. You're the one that's going to go with your community, with your family, into the land that God swore to our ancestors. It's indeed God who will go before you, will be with you, and will not forsake you. Fear not and be not dismayed. And so as we look towards the coming year, we have the opportunity to know that in our moments of great achievement and our moments of greatest vulnerability, our lives are filled with meaning and awe, and that we need not be afraid, because indeed God will be with us. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So I invite you now to join me on page 149 as we rise for the words of the Aleinu.
Aleinu shabeach ladon hakol, lateitu l'yotzei bereshit, asher samchokenu yachid shemo, v'gor aleinu l'havei malchuto, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Please be seated. Page 152. Human beings do not live forever. We live less than the time it takes to blink an eye if we measure our eyes against eternity. So it may be asked what value there is to human life. There is so much pain in the world. What does it mean to have to suffer so much if our lives are nothing more than the blink of an eye?
I learned a long time ago that the blink of an eye in itself is nothing. But the eye that blinks, that is something. A span of life is nothing. But the person who lives that span is something. We can fill that tiny span with meaning, so its qualities are measurable, though its quantity may be insignificant. We must fill life with meaning. Meaning is not automatically given to life.
At this time, our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those of our friends and neighbors, and all of those people whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and of loss, of life and death. We recall the names of the following, whose yahrzeit, the anniversary of whose death occurs this week. Derelda Morgan, the mother of Horace Brown. Norman Englander, the father of Rabbi Larry Englander, Stewart, and the late Gerald, and the father-in-law of Cheryl and Sandy. Michael S. Feynman, the brother of Barry, the uncle of Daniel and Georgia, and Simon and Carrie. Julia Cohen, mother-in-law of Barry Feynman. Janina Taub, the mother of Esther Turner. Sheldon Black, the uncle of Rabbi Larry Englander and Stuart Englander. Daniel Gutkin, the father of Cal, the father-in-law of Mary, and the grandfather of Michelle, Maya, Leah, Matt, and Corey, and the great-grandfather of Maddie and Declan. Jim Duncan, the father of Nicole Hansen. Fred Bayless, the father of Anne and the grandfather of Leah, Olivia, and Adam. Alfred Richmond, the father of Ruth Snell, the grandfather of Tamara, Rebecca, and Simcha, the great-grandfather of Jonathan, Gordon, Vivian, Owen, and Philippo. Morris Rosemarin, father of Leonard, and the grandfather of Nicole, Chantel, and Danielle. Leo Radulescu, the father of Andrea Galambos and Peter, and the grandfather of Andrew Georgescu. Michael Shapiro, the brother of Howard. Peter Fick, the brother of Mike, and the uncle of Ira and Eric. Molly Kadeski, the mother of Debbie Berkovich. Michelle Abramson, the father of Ruth Assenheim. David Phillipson, the grandfather of Diane Adler. David Patnick, the brother of Bill and the brother-in-law of Kim Maine. And Albert Moses, late member and dear friend of Solel. And if you are also here first to say Kaddish for someone whose name is not on our list, you're invited to speak their name aloud at this time or to hold their name in your heart. We ask those who are mourning to please rise first, that we might say to you, Min hamakom tinachamu. May you find comfort in God's sheltering presence. Now as a community, we all rise to support those who are mourning and to say Kaddish for those who have no one to say it for them. As we repeat the words hallowed by the generations, page 159. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirtei yamlim malchutei, l'chayei chom yomechom, u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalav yizman kari v'miramin. Yehei shmei Rabbah barach le'olam lo le'maya, yitbarach v'yishavach v'yitpa'ar v'yitrumam v'yitnaseh, yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kudusha b'richu, le'elam mikol berchatav shiratav, tushbachata v'nechemata, damira ve'yoma v'yirameh. Yehei shema Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yirameh. Osei shalom v'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol b'nei Adam v'yirameh. May the source of peace send peace to all those who mourn in comfort, to all who are bereaved among us, among all of the Jewish people, and among all the nations and families of earth. And we say it together. Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. It's my pleasure at this time to call upon Miriam Schumann, representing our board, to share some greetings and announcements.
everybody. I'm Miriam Schumann. So first I would like to thank our tech volunteer tonight, Joel Brown, and tomorrow, do I thank tomorrow's people?
No, we'll thank tomorrow's people tomorrow.
Okay. So, Joel, thank you very much. Our shamas tonight is Isaiah Longkent, shofar blower, Mark Botnick, and Brad Bass. Did we have Weekend here?
We will at the end of the service.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
I
Mark.
was like, I was later than I thought. And our own egg sponsor, today and tomorrow, Horace Brown, in loving memory of his mother, Geralda Morgan. For current activities, updates, and announcements, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the Solel Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts and our website, where you will find lots of information. We have, in terms of upcoming events, there is a rally to support Israeli democracy, Sunday, September 10th at 4 o'clock at Queen's Park in Toronto. You can see the flyer in Friday's weekly Shamas edition for more details. Sunday, there is a Beit Sefer breakfast and program for students and parents from 10 a.m. to noon. Upcoming services, Solel at 50, there's a launch party service. If you haven't yet, you would like to RSVP to the office for the launch and Kiddush lunch on September 30th. You can download the forms from our website if you haven't received it. The deadline is September 8th, which
Today.
yes. But if you can, probably still email over the weekend and let the office know if you'd like to join. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. there's a regular Shabbat service. And then tomorrow evening, Slichot dinner at 6:30 p.m., program from 7 to 8:30 p.m., and the Slichot service at 9 p.m. The office would like people to RSVP for numbers for the dinner. There is a small charge. Changing of the Torah mantles will be included. Then, in terms of after that, Friday, September 15th at 8 p.m. is the Erev Rosh Hashanah service. Saturday, September 16th, 10 a.m. is the first day of Rosh Hashanah. And Sunday, September 17th at 10 a.m., Rosh Hashanah Day 2 with the door-to-door multi-generational service, followed by Tashlich and family barbecue here at Solel. And you'll get to hear me read Torah that day if you are here. That was my own little additional note. It was not in the notes here. There is a Yom Kippur breakfast Monday, September 25th. We're looking for donations of finger foods, cheese, crackers, cookies, cake, ready-to-serve things to help sponsor our communal breakfast. You can bring the items to Solel by the end of the day and place it in the kitchen, on the counter, or in the fridge. So that's a little note from the High Holiday Committee. They're thanking you all in advance for your future contributions for this event. There is a High Holiday food drive. So you can bring things anytime. The donations are for ongoing need in the community, but it is particularly something that is emphasized during the high holidays. And this Solel's Living Torah Project, you can be part of writing the new Torah scroll. It's part of our upcoming 50th anniversary celebrations. We're continuing to create this, and you can be part of it by sponsoring a letter, a word, a phrase, a verse, a parsha, or more. And you can look at the website under the Living Torah Project page for more information. Also, our Jerusalem Wall Bricks fundraiser continues. For only $60 a child, you can commemorate a bar bat mitzvah or a birth or a special birthday, and you can contact the office for more details. Also, our prayer book is available from the office for $36. You can purchase commemorative book plates for $25, and those are placed inside the prayer books in this sanctuary, and they can commemorate a life cycle event, remember a loved one, birth of somebody important to you, that kind of thing. Finally, if you are visiting Solel and you have questions, you can, or if you're a member and something is on your mind, you can see me or any other board member who is here, and we're happy to talk to you. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shalom. Thanks so much, Miriam. We're going to conclude with Kiddush for Erev Shabbat, which David is going to lead us in. So please turn to page 163 as we rise together. And we're going to join together in Kiddush. After that, we're going to hear Brad blow the sound of the shofar for us.
Vahi Erev, Vahi Boker, Yom HaShishi. Now the whole universe, sky, earth, and all their array was completed. With the seventh day, God had ended the work of creation and rested with all work completed. Then God blessed the seventh day and called it holy. For with this day, God had completed the work of creation. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hikrilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, kihu yom tehillah lemikrai kodesh, zecher yetziat Mitzrayim, kivanu b'charata ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodesh ve'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Chaim. And as the end of Elul is approaching, as Tishrei will be upon us in just 1 week, we listen to the sound of the shofar. We pray that we can enter the gates of tshuva, of repentance, of returning to who we are meant to be. We say, Baruch atah Adonai shomei truah, blessed are you Adonai, who hears the sounding of the shofar. Tekiah, Shavari, Teruah, Tekiah, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher koach. Please come and join us for Oneg Shabbat, and if you're at home, we wish you Shabbat Shalom as well. May it be a day of peace and joy and rest.